What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Mo Beast here again. I know if you're a fan of Oblivion Remastered, like I said in the last video, it's about our time we got the VR mod. And within a week, we got full 6 degrees of freedom in VR. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth to be able to accommodate for people who are Oblivion fans or just watching this for the first time or just hearing about it or just started getting into VR because of the Oblivion mod. I'm gonna kind of explain a few things here and there, so bear with me if you already experienced. So to give you guys backstories for a lot of newcomers to VR, if you never played VR, don't own a PC for VR or even a Quest, anything like that, you're completely brand new. 6 degrees of freedom it's 6 DOF, 6 DOF kind of explains for itself. It's like having the full immersive experience in VR, motion controls, turning, 360 up, down, X, Y, and Z. And most native VR games are like that. And some VR mods out there, which modding in VR is a big scene for PC. It's a huge aspect of VR. A lot of people get into PC VR because of the mods. There's only so much, native VR games out there, not on PC for the Quest. So there's a huge VR modding community. And up until the last couple years, before that, we've had, individual mods for every game. We all have to wait for a mod to come out. Maybe sometimes it comes a few months, 6 months, a year. It just really depends on the community and the complexity of things and who was able to take on the project. So a couple years ago, we had a guy named Praydog who came up with the UEVR plugin for it's a VR mod. Essentially, it's an injector you plug and play. I mean, I've done some Unreal Engine development, and UE5 does support VR. So there's even you can add VR into that engine pretty easily. So he created an injector that's kind of able to get a game going in VR. Some things do require a lot of editing, creating profiles, messing with controls, X, Y, and Z. And it turns a lot of people away from it to put in that much work to get a certain VR game set up through a mod. Some games are easier than others. It just really depends. But this gives us a huge opportunity and a chance to be able to experience games like this. Just the game Oblivion Remastered runs off of Unreal Engine 5 for the graphical aspect, and it still runs off the creation engine for all the other quests and scripting and everything. So this is a great opportunity. And this is one of the things that you just glad that there's mods and tools like this for enthusiasts. And kind of to set the expectation, it is a mod. There's only so much you can fully experience and have it as close as possible to a native VR game or a flat screen game. Not everything's going to work the same way you want it. Nothing's going to perform the way you want. It may not look exactly what you expected. And this is only like about 7 to 10 days after launch, we got this mod within a week. The injector was already there, but the profile to set this all up to be able to play in Oblivion in VR properly was 6 degrees of freedom. Because before this profile came out, you only had the visual VR where you just look around, but you were using a controller. So it's not really full VR. It's kind of like a VR visual, but not the full experience. Yet this mod isn't perfect either. No mod is, and no game is, but no VR mod is going to be perfect. It's going to have its limitations, and over time, these things do get better. So I want to set that expectation for newcomers or people who are a little bit into VR, don't know too much about it. To set the stage about my specs, how it ran for me, I do have a very powerful PC. I'm very fortunate enough. I have a 5090 7950X 3D CPU, 64 gigs of RAM, and running everything off an NVMe. So I'm more than well equipped for the graphical side of things. I am using a Quest 3. I'm using the cable link. I'm not using virtual desktop or AirLink or any other wireless solution. So I'm using a cable. I wanted the max, graphical fidelity and just best overall experience with least amount of latency because I'm recording on the same PC and running VR on max for this game. So it is taking a lot. So I wanted to just kind of offload a little bit off the GPU from when playing VR with the link. And at the same time, I'm recording using my CPU versus my GPU. So I'm trying to offload a little bit off that. So there's, there might be some graphical hiccups or performance issues that you might see on screen. It might be just the mod or the fact that I'm recording at the same time. Quest 3 settings itself, in the PC app, I have it on 120 frames a second, and I have it at 1.5x resolution. I think it's 4026 by 2094 or something like that. No, 4096 by 2024. Sorry, something along those lines, but 1.5x. I have it on the screen. I forgot on the top of my head. and the bitrate I have it maxed out in the dev tools. But that's about it. That if I forgot anything, only other setting that most people are messing around with is with a setting where it says native stereo. Some people swap between the three. I just kept it at native stereo. Some people said if you switch to the other one, you're able to get better performance, but some graphical errors. So I just kept it on native stereo. The game graphical settings, so I did swap between 90 frames a second and 120. In Oblivion, there is a FPS counter I have on the top right. But when you're in VR and using this mod, it cuts the frames in half because it's calculating the frames per eye. So I did a 120 and 90. So there's gonna be moments where it says 45 or it might say 60. That's because that's per eye. So 40 and 40, 90, 60 and 60, 120. So just to give you guys a heads up. So a lot of the Discord recommended medium to high. There were moments I pushed to ultra at 120 frames a second. It was doable, but I kind of went back to high. I think high at 120 is like perfect. The only thing that I messed around with that I didn't keep at high was the reflection settings. Once you go to high or any higher than that, there's a bunch of weird graphical errors and colors, so I kept it at medium. They were in the injector, it says DLSS don't turn it on, but in the Discord, people recommend using it. I found, using DLSS at quality kept it a little bit more smooth and stable. I didn't see too much of a difference turning it off, so I kept it on just for the performance. Because, what you guys are seeing on screen is going to be different than what I'm seeing at the same time because I'm in VR. What you guys see is probably a lot crisper and a lot cleaner. When I'm in there are things that are very nice and clear, and some of the things in the distance very there's a lot of some artifacting here and there. It's not perfect. It's a mod. It's going to be great, but it's still very enjoyable. And in terms of controls, it did take some time to get used to. I'm gonna give you guys a few tips right here on the controller on the Quest 3. It took me a long time to figure all this stuff out. Left controller, the menu button is the menu button for in-game. X and Y are going to be your crouch and jump, but at the same time, on the right stick, you push up on the analog stick, that's jump. If you use the two inside bumpers at the same time, you use your magic. You use obviously the sticks to move around. I forgot what A and B do. I totally forgot. If you hold the right trigger, it does your strong attack. I think I forgot what I picked. I just picked a basic preset for my character. I don't even care. In terms of the UEVR menu, to pop it up in VR to change any settings, press both thumb joysticks down at the same time, R3 and L3 at the same time for it to pop up. If you want to make any in-game adjustments to the injector itself. In terms of swinging the sword in combat and using the shield, it is a little off. Like if you're noticing when you're moving your right hand or your dominant hand, so there's a setting in UEVR you can make your left hand dominant. You're noticing that you're moving a screen as if it was a monitor. The monitor that you would look on when you're playing flat, that's what you're moving around and that's what you're aiming with. And you see the little dot cursor for the aim. That's what you're moving around. You're not really... In VR, if you had just the sword, you swing it, it would do the action, attack the thing. Make sure when you're swinging that the middle part of the aiming is actually hitting, in the right direction, in the right way, at the enemy or whatever you're trying to hit. I did struggle a little bit, especially with the magic. It's not your head, it's based off of the aim. And I'm pretty sure in UEVR, the injector, you could probably adjust some things. Some settings I was trying to change, it wouldn't change for me. Maybe I had to exit the game and go back in. And I'm pretty sure with over time they'll fix some of the things. And at the same time, and when I was swinging forward, it wasn't registering. And I looked at the Discord. Some people say kind of like stop your attack right before the enemy for it to register and slash through. It is a work in progress. So I wouldn't really recommend having this as your main file, or just maybe start a separate VR file to have fun. I'm running the VR one on Game Pass and my flat one on Steam. But that's, I think, about it, guys. Like in terms of performance, I was maxing out everything. Whether it was 90 frames a second or 120 at high, I was hitting everything. At 120, I was experiencing a little bit more pop in and some glitches here and there, some frame drops, pretty consistent, not too consistent, but more often than 90. But it wasn't unbearable. It was still fun. It was still enjoyable. It is what it is, but it's still a lot of fun just to be able to see the world when you first walk out. You're like, man, this is awesome. I'm playing Oblivion in VR and it's so much fun. And just messing around, and I was just causing havoc, compared to what I would have done in my main file on Steam. I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do whatever the heck I want in VR. I'm just gonna do whatever. So I started attacking people, stealing things. I convinced someone, I bullied them into giving me some horse armor for free. Then I tried to kill them. It's fun. I mean, the combat's probably I think the first thing they need to fix to get it down to make it a little bit more enjoyable. Everything else can, we'll get there, but I feel like getting the controls and the combat down would be the number one thing. That's about it, guys. I'm gonna have my tutorial down in the description, along with some other YouTubers. I've done some tutorials if you guys need some help. I know everyone has some piece of information that others may not have. The setup's fairly easy, so if you want to do the tutorial and setup, watch some of the videos. And let me know in the comments below. Have you tried this in VR? Are you going to? Are you turned off? Are you intimidated? Or what other VR mods have you tried? Are you new to VR? Do you want to get into VR? Just let me know in the comments below what you think about VR and mods and by your experience. Take care, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.